this edition of Idol Gossip, toe-tapping turkeys. Can she carry a tune? Lessons in lousy lyrics. And now our regular lesson on how to appear in public, the Fashion Police. Fashion festivities are a mecca for top-notch designers. If you think they're exempt from the watchful eyes of the Fashion Police, think again. Often it's not what they make the models wear, it's the get-ups the designers dress themselves in that account for the major fashion crimes. The prime suspect today, charged with propagating a look that says, "I'm old and I won't accept it until the Snow White mane on top morphs into an Amadeus-style pompadour," is Karl Lagerfeld. Stuck in a time warp of goth jewellery, Michael Jackson bad gloves and a bow around his neck that just begs to be pulled on, it's hard to imagine Karl is actually head of the Chanel design house, as well as his own couture empire. Another big name who is still on the cutting edge of fashion, but always turns out looking like something the cat dragged in, is Vivienne Westwood. It's not about the dress, it's about the hair. There's nothing silly about this woman's bird nest hair. It's her trademark, and in a rare move, she is seen here wearing the supreme mop in a wayward Westwood-like top knot. Let's hear it for Miss Diana Ross. Some of the younger stars could take a tip or two about hair from Miss Ross, like sweet little Anna Nicole Smith. Anna, speak into the mic. Don't swallow it.
And the first
Carmen Electra stuns the crowd with her poise and style, but lets herself down the moment Anna Nicole gets in on the act. Trashy girls, who needs it? Shades sitting firm, Julianne Moore might have something to hide in this suede look jacket. It's no secret and seems to be a fashion statement all over the world. J-Lo's fringed poncho with the fur trim follows on with the natural fabric theme. Pocahontas, eat your heart out. From suede to sheepskin to leather, somebody's let the cat out of the bag at Dior. But this dress in the shape of a sack isn't the only bag of fun you'll get a glimpse of at this year's collections. Someone who tends to dress like an old bag is Cate. Where'd she dig up this ensemble? Her local thrift store? There's nothing wrong with shopping at the thrift store. Lenny Kravitz does all the time. If only she could get some cool like Lenny. He's so cool. And someone who also needs a trip to the mall to shop with Lenny is Lil' Kim. For someone who can look so stunning when she's dressed by a professional, it's a sorry sight when you see the misguided fashion stylings of a star who never fails to embarrass herself with her bad taste. Lil' Kim, get a stylist. Fashion Police, over and out. The genre of movie musical has never been healthier than now. But a handful of years ago, the movie musical was deemed dead as the dodo. Musicals just weren't what audiences wanted. The studios tried to reinvent the style with contemporary music and some established pop stars. But a musical is, well, a musical. And if there is a formula, it's a tricky one. The experiments at tampering with this mould from the 1980s are so grotesque that Hollywood would like to forget them altogether. But many fans would suggest that they're so bad, they're good. and should be celebrated for their kooky charm. The Hollywood moguls thought that the one that audiences wanted to see in a musical was Olivia Newton-John. Still on the rise after starring in the phenomenal Grease, Olivia was put on roller skates, the Electric Light Orchestra played in the background, and Gene Kelly was brought back to life for the musical fantasy that was Xanadu. In the true style of the old musicals, there was a very thin plot, lots of production numbers with cutting-edge special effects, a costume parade, and references to Busby Berkeley everywhere. As gorgeous as she was, even an outrageously over-costumed Olivia couldn't save this turkey. Now Xanadu is revered for its utter badness. A famous one-word review from the time of its release simply said, "Xana don't." Xanadu was often played on a cheap double feature bill in the US with another shocker of a musical from the same time. The all-male disco band with sass, the Village People, was set before the cameras to act, sing and dance a pseudo-biographical account of their start in the music business. They called it Can't Stop the Music. You can almost hear the crew giggling in the background throughout. The Village People camp it up in the YMCA number, which contains so many homoerotic images. It's bizarre to think that it was marketed as a family movie. Unfortunately for the men of the Village People, disco was in its last days, and this movie would only generate returns in one country, Australia, which was the location for a movie musical travesty like no other. At the time, Australian movies dealt with only two subjects, World War I and horses. Then somebody said, wouldn't it be a great idea to do a film version of Gilbert and Sullivan's Pirates of Penzance? But we'll have to get some Americans in it to play the stars because our actors are crap. Yeah, horses can't sing, can they? Pretty Christy McNichol signed on with even prettier Christopher Atkins. They sing their way through a couple of discomforting pop ditties, while the rest of the cast carry on through the Gilbert and Sullivan score. It's so bad, it's delightful to watch. Obviously, Grease 2 was a studio rush job to cash in on success of the first film. This retro calamity was doomed from the start. In her first on-screen musical role, Michelle Pfeiffer attempts to save Grease 2 from total oblivion. She holds her own as the tough girl leader of the pack. With its forgettable songs, crummy choreography, and abysmal acting, Grease 2 would end up a sticky mess. By decade's end, any movie with a pop soundtrack that featured songs or dancing throughout was deemed a musical. Films like Flashdance, Dirty Dancing and Absolute Beginners drew big audiences, but hardly set any new benchmarks. Today, several have found their way to Broadway and the West End, like charming gatecrashers at a dull party. It was a decade of overindulgent bad taste, but Hollywood got over it, leaving us with some hilariously bad musical forays to treasure. Will Smith has revealed that other famous Hollywood couples have asked him and wife for marital advice, including his good friends Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and Bruce Willis and Demi Moore.
What the hell was that? I'm showing you the magic. No, I said come 90 and then I come 10. You don't go the whole 100. You overzealous son of a...
That's where I come in.
Incidentally, both couples later split up.
She took it as you trying to imply that you thought she was fat.
There is only room at the top for one diva, and in the 90s, the one was Mariah Carey. Blessed with a powerful 5-octave vocal range, Mariah has seen amazing highs and heartbreaking lows during her career. Of Irish, African-American and Venezuelan heritage, and a natural-born singer from childhood, Mariah had been trained by her vocal coach mother, and as a teen became known for her stunning voice around her Long Island neighbourhood. Nicknamed Mirage because she never showed up for class, Mariah's truancy didn't stop her from graduating, and the day after the ceremony, Mariah performed one last vanishing act and moved to New York with one thing on her mind: to be a singer.
Oh, you don't need that. They don't matter. They're just backup.
In a charmed series of events, a singer she provided backing vocals for handed her demo tape to Sony executive Tommy Mottola. Mariah was signed and her first single went straight to #1. Then she fell in love with Mottola, marrying him in an outrageous wedding themed after the royal wedding of Charles and Diana. Now a pop princess herself, she reigned over the charts for a decade. But every dynasty has its dark secrets, rumoured manipulation of sales figures, and even ghost voicing on her recordings. Nevertheless, she would chalk up 125 million albums sold after 10 years in the business, and to date is the most successful female artist ever. The fans loved Mariah, but Mottola dumped her, and the distraught diva sought the support of friends in the industry.
Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tommy, came to me crying. She was crying so bad I had to hold her.
After negotiating her release from the Sony label, she signed with Virgin Records for a staggering $100 million. The deal to kick off with a movie and album project called Glitter. But the spell that granted Mariah ongoing success was broken, and the bomb of a movie ultimately took the album down with it.
Great show.
Thank you. How you doing?
Excellent. Are you signed yet, Billy?
Sign like a record contract thing? No.
Mariah could not accept the horrid truth that the glitter had turned to just litter. And she retired to a hospital, suffering a well-publicised mental and physical breakdown. Mariah's new masters wanted out of the deal and bought her contract out for $28 million. Without a contract, Mariah disappeared from view to recover on a Mediterranean island. She returns signed to a new label, armed with new songs recorded while in recovery, to be released on her new album, The Emancipation of Mimi. Who is Mimi? Why, that's Mariah's nickname, which she insists on being called, stating she has grown into an artist who no longer feels she must live up to someone else's vision of her. Mimi, says, "I now feel I can honestly say, this is me, the real me, take it or leave it." Reborn, revamped and with a new name, Mariah, or rather Mimi, is set for a return to super siren status once more. Ever thought life as a singer in a band would be really neat? You don't have to play an instrument. Heck, you don't even have to be able to sing. All you'll ever have to do is wriggle about on stage in an unusual manner, whisper, screech, or belch some knocked-up lyrics, and you'll be on a poster on every teenager's wall from here to Timbuktu. You can write lyrics, can't you? Never mind if you can't, because you've just enrolled in Idle Gossip's Lyric Writing 101. Let's start at the very beginning. Simple phrases and small words. A real pro like Kylie Minogue recorded a monster hit a few years ago. The chorus consisted of one word repeated 32 times and went something like la la la, la 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 la. Write a few of these and you'll be set for life. Take this simple concept a step further. Add the nuance of 2 or 3 nonsensical words and you get a masterpiece of meaningless waffle. Does this ring a bell? Bop, ba-dooba-dop. Hanson's Bop. It's a classic, but nowhere near as pure as one of the Beatles' first hits. Try this on for size. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. It doesn't get any better than that. The next step is more complicated, but about as complicated as it will ever get. The use of words. Try using real-life situations in your lyrics, telling a simple story. Even my skin is acting weird. I wish that I could grow a beard. Then I could cover up my spots, not play connect the dots. I just want to disappear. That's the kind of stuff that's made her a superstar. Lyrics are everywhere. Look at toilet walls, graffiti, even in children's playgrounds, which is probably where Freddie Mercury got his inspiration for this song. I bet the kid who started that taunt after an inter-school soccer match is kicking himself now. The sillier the lyric, often the better it sounds. Peter Gabriel had a huge hit with Sledgehammer. Show me round your fruit cage, 'cause I will be your honeybee. Open up your fruit cage, where the fruit is as sweet as can be. His penmanship demonstrates a use of analogy and metaphor. You'll find the meaning of those words in a thing called a dictionary. So, you're well and truly on your way to rock stardom. But don't forget the golden rule. Don't bore us, get to the chorus. Keep it simple and keep it real, like Jerry Halliwell. I'm a drama queen, if that's your thing, baby. I can even do reality. So simple, so stupid. It's music to my ears. It can be fun messing about with words to illustrate your angst, frustration, or utter apathy towards any subject, all the way to human existence, as philosophically sound band Evanessence did in this song. Save me. Call my name and save me from the dark. Bring my blood to run. Before I come undone, save me from nothing I've become. Not comfortable with trying to sing? Maybe you should try rapping. All you have to do is make the words rhyme. Start simple and take it from there, like, I have a cat, it looks fat, it caught a rat, and made a mess on the mat. See, it's simple. Anyone can do it. And don't believe the hype. You don't need to carry a gun or be draped in bling to be a rapper. You can even be white, talentless, and effeminate. There's all sorts of genres to choose from. I fancy country and western music myself. There's so much you can say with this style. But in each song, you must refer to either a canine pal dying, your best girl leaving, or your truck breaking down. Or rhythm and blues, otherwise known as R&B, which is for rappers male and female who can carry a tune a bit. And ultimately, if you can't think of anything sensible to sing, just appear scantily clad. All the pubescent male fans won't even be listening, and the girls will be too envious to care. Pop music poppet Christina Aguilera was once introduced to famed golfer Tiger Woods. Oh, Christina, I love your music. I have all your CDs. Sorry, I don't follow tennis, so I don't know much about you. Recently, we exposed the fame and fortune enjoyed by an exclusive club of actresses, all named Cate. Our researchers have unearthed a similar fellowship amongst a handful of actors, all named Ben. But it's not a club of awards and affluence as enjoyed by the girls. Sadly for the Bens, all you have to do is add one letter to their name to spell Bean, as in has been. Sir Ben Kingsley, distinguished British actor and Academy Award winner, began his career in the 1960s. But it was not until 1982 that Ben was offered his very first lead in a motion picture.
Get back on that train before it leaves. They seem to want.
It was, of course, his Academy Award-winning role in David Attenborough's Gandhi. Like many others to win an Oscar, the award made him a household name. But as a character actor, the lead roles were few and far between. Ben's recent role sees him playing a live-action version of a puppet in The Thunderbirds, a far cry from his Oscar-winning role. Ben Stiller has worked tremendously hard to achieve his status today among the funny guys of Hollywood. Climbing the ladder from stage to small screen and then the movies, by the mid-90s, he had enough contracts to piece together producers for Reality Bites. The movie was a career milestone for the happening young cast, but ironically for Ben, it was a career dead end. Then gold was struck. There's Something About Mary delivered a massive career boost for Ben. Meet the Parents and its sequel, which co-starred huge names like De Niro, Hoffman and movie recluse Barbra Streisand, have also found gigantic audiences. But with such a stellar cast, it's unlikely they were flocking to see Stiller.
But I think that it's the little Jack in you who's crying out for a hug.
Ben Affleck had been acting since the age of 8. He began winning roles in independent films in his early 20s, among them Mallrats and Chasing Amy. This run of luck inevitably ran dry, and Ben was down and out, sharing a cheap apartment in LA with his childhood actor buddy, Matt Damon. Sick of auditioning and not being cast, Ben and Matt decided to write their own picture, Good Will Hunting, which they sold to Miramax in a deal that saw them both cast as leads in the film. Ben has never had to audition for a role since, nor has he had a box office hit.
This may be a good time to suggest.
Benjamin Bratt didn't make it big overnight. Benjamin's acting talents led him to be cast in TV's Law & Order, and after 5 years on the show, he left to make his mark in the movies.
Catwoman.
There were some hits
What do you think
and
about
some
that?
flops, most notably Catwoman.
You like bad girls?
Only if they like me back.
Perhaps his biggest fans only watched him when he was free to view on television. It's hard to stay afloat as a bankable box office star. Once marked by a flop film or a series of forgettable ones, it may be only a matter of time until the words movie star attached to a celebrity's name are replaced by has been.
No. Then what's to know, my friend?